Hi everyone, it is Rachel here from Ashdown. So today's video is on whether or not you should use an estate agent or yourself to conduct viewings on your property. Now, there is a debate on whether or not it is better to get an estate agent in, or if you are better suited to do it because you know what's going on in the property. So I just thought I would touch on this topic and I would do a few little pointers, both the pros and cons, and see what you guys think, whether or not you agree or disagree with anything I've said. If you do, or if you have another pro or another con that I haven't touched upon, please leave it in the comments below and we'll have a little discussion on what the best topic is and what the best solution is for you. It could be different. Some people I know only use estate agents, some people only use themselves to do the viewings, and some use a mixture depending on just the property. So please leave any comments below in the video and we will get back to you and we'll have a little discussion. So I have 3 pros and 3 cons. Now, as someone who has used both an estate agent and personally I have been doing the viewings for our latest property, I know the different I have picked up on different pros and cons that I feel influence our decision sometimes when it comes to asking an estate agent to do it or doing it ourselves. Now, we don't always use an estate agent, we have done, but we don't always use them on every property, and we don't always personally use myself to do the viewings. I have done quite a few, but not all of them, so it's not one or the other for us. We like to do a mixture. So the pros. One of the pros that I came up with for an estate agent to do the viewings is that they have the local knowledge. Now, as a property investor and developer, I have the local knowledge and I know which streets are better for rentals and better for sales. But when it comes to properties that I'm not particularly 100% on, or if I need a little bit of extra information, I always ask my contacts at the estate agents. So if I myself, as this is my day job and this is what I do for a living, am looking at properties, and if I'm stuck, if I go to an estate agent, why wouldn't I then use them to sell my property, to do my property? So it's one of those where we like to be very independent and we know our knowledge and we've worked to get that knowledge. But if I am finding that I am not 100% on a property, if I am a little bit stuck, or if I am feeling a little bit anxious, I always reach out to my contacts at the estate agency. So if I do that, why can't I let them sell my done up property? So another one which relates to this is that they have the knowledge about the viewer. Now, when you go to view a property, I know that many people have done it, but when you go, you have to answer multiple questions. Are you a cash buyer? Are you a mortgage? Are you in a chain? Anything such as that. And that really is something that you can tap into. Now, if you have a property and you are wanting to move on to your next property, if you have money tied up that you want to use on the next one, you want to sell as quickly as possible. Now, you may only be able to sell if you have a criteria. Now, we always prioritise cash buyers, those with a mortgage in principle already, or those without chain, just because we move on from property to property and we release funds from one and to put them into the other, or for the investor to get their funds back and then to reinvest later down the line. It just depends. Now, if you are like us and you have a criteria, if you are using an estate agent, you can find out about the viewer and whether or not they meet that criteria before the viewing happens, which then means that you can get the viewings agreed and booked in and done, which hit your criteria. I'm not saying don't let other people view if they don't fit your criteria, but what we do is that we prioritize those who fit our criteria because that's the criteria we have set. That's what we want to market. That's who we want to market to. That's who we want to buy. So if you're using an estate agent, they gain that knowledge when the viewers ring up to book a viewing. They can then pass that message on to you and you can say yes or no. And then that cuts out any wasted time on both your side, the estate agent side, the viewer's side, and it means you can get those people in that fit your criteria to view the property. So the third pro is that they take away the stress. Now, if you have to leave your everyday job to go backwards and forwards to a property and take time out of your day and your schedule to do viewings that they could do, then it makes sense that you would get an estate agent in. If you have a very busy day or you have a very packed schedule and you are flitting in and out every hour because you've got to go and conduct a viewing, then that would definitely be a pro on the side of the estate agent because that's what they do every day. They can be there anytime. They can go in and out and in and out, and that's what they do. That's what they're used to. Whereas if you are doing Zoom meetings or doing face-to-face meetings now, or if you are out of your area for that day and there's a viewing happening, you've got to then get back. You've got to schedule your time and your day around any viewings. Whereas the estate agent, they just schedule it into when they're free on that day or the day after. They've got a lot more ease with that, and they can do that just very quickly and very, very easily, and then it's just done. You don't have to worry about it. You can just hand over the keys and just wait to hear any feedback from the estate agents, or if there's any offers being put in. You don't have to worry about anything such as that. However, my negatives are that an estate agent can be quite impersonal. Now, it's not a bad thing on the estate agents personally, but if you are viewing a property and the estate agent is there and they are retelling you what someone's told them, it's very impersonal. It doesn't really have that connection. Whereas if you are viewing a property and the property is, it's a family home or whatever kind of property it is, and the person who you are viewing with is the owner of the property, there's a bit more of a connection there. They've been there. The owners have been there. They've either lived there or they're reselling like we are, but that's theirs. That they know everything about that property. Now, this sort of connects to my second negative, which is that an estate agent doesn't know the full extent of the refurbishment works, if there are any. So if you are refurbishing a property and you've took it right back to basics and you are redoing it all, there's a new roof, there's a new kitchen, new bathroom, whatever, you have to then retell that to the estate agent. Whereas if you are viewing the property, you are there with the viewers, you can tell them straight away what you've done, answer any questions about any of the works you've completed or anything that you haven't done that was okay before you moved in. Anything such as that, you have that knowledge on tap. Whereas the estate agent might not know everything. They might be asked a question that they don't have the answer to because you haven't told them. You didn't think it was relevant. You didn't think that the question would be asked. So they then have to come back to you. Whereas if you're doing it, you can answer the question, or if you don't know, you could ring and ask some of the team, or you could, look through your notes that if you have any about what's been done. And also, if you have told the estate agent what's been done and then they get a viewing a couple of days later, they might not remember everything that you've told them. They might forget crucial information that you've told them that the viewer wants to know, that could sway their decision on whether or not they want to put an offer in or whether the property's not for them. So those are my first 2 points. Now the third one is that sometimes, this is a bit of a catch-22 point, but sometimes estate agents, they just let you into the property, and I personally, from experience, I find that some just let you into the property and park themselves either by a window or at the kitchen counter, and they don't move, and they just let you walk around the property, view it yourself, and they don't come with you, they stay where they are. Now, for me personally, that is great when I'm viewing a property, because I have a checklist that I go through. I do approximate calculations on refurb costs and what we would do, and I fill that all out while I'm walking around. So I need that quiet time, that my time to just walk around at my own pace to conduct the viewing. Whereas if I am selling a property, I want someone who's going to engage with the viewers, not someone who is going to let them in, let them wander around by themselves and stand by the door and wait for them. So on one hand, I quite like the estate agents that do that, because when I'm viewing, that's what I need. Whereas if I'm selling, I want someone who's going to engage with them, who might walk around with them the first time and answer any questions, and then let them walk around again by themselves, or someone who can answer the questions and, you know, and let them walk around and have that connection with them. Whereas, you know, some don't do that. So those are my 3 pros and 3 cons. Now, if you agree with any of them, please leave a comment below. If you do not agree with any of them, again, please leave a comment below. Or if you have any other pros and cons that you think are relevant that I haven't talked about, please leave a comment below, and we'll have a little discussion about whether or not an estate agent or yourself is the best way to go when conducting viewings on your own property. Thanks guys, I will see you next time for the next video.